Hello students, welcome into the another session of CS22 operating system concepts using Linux and Unix. As all of you know that we have successfully completed with the two chapters, where first chapter contains the introductory section about our subject and chapter number 2 contains the detailed discussion of first functionality, which we have covered as a one topic in chapter number 1, that is process management. And then after we have started with unit number 3, that is memory management. That is the another functionality of operating system concepts. So let's start with the same. In unit number 3 called memory management, the entire chapter gives an idea about how the memory is allocated to each and every process which has been initiated by central processing unit. One thing is very clear, in computer system every execution requires a primary storage space. So that primary storage space is allocated by the primary storage device, which is called as random access memory. So how that entire allocation handles will be carried forwarded in this particular unit. So let's first discuss about the definition of memory management. Memory management is the functionality of operating system which handles or manage primary memory and move all the process block back to the secondary storage device and a primary storage device. That means we can say that there is a switching in between a primary storage device and secondary storage device. Before going ahead, one more thing I would like to clear with all the students. Say for example, if your system is started and you have opened a notepad, and in that notepad application you have typed your name or xyz content, and due to the electricity failure the system gets shut down. Content will not permanently store into the system when you restart your system for the next time. Case number 2 is what? If I have typed my name into the notepad and I have saved that particular content into the D drive, and then due to the electric failure or some another thing the system is not working properly, next time suppose I starts my system, I can get back my data from the saved location. So in case number 1, the content are stored in primary storage, which is a temporary storage device, and in case number 2 it is stored into the disk, which is a secondary storage device. So whenever we press Ctrl S, or we can say whenever we save the file, memory management manage the secondary storage device and content which shifts from primary to secondary storage device. This is the main functionality of memory management. This is just an example. Even for the resource allocation and deallocation, memory management also works, that we will discuss later on. This is the initial line that we have to keep in our mind for the discussion of memory management. Next we says that memory management keep track of each and every memory location regardless of either it is allocated to some process or it is free. That means memory is a single bunch where thousands and millions of addresses are there ready to accept the number of processes. From that entire list, some of the addresses are occupied by the central processing unit and managed by memory management unit, and some of the addresses are free, which are ready to accept any process. So this memory management block keep also the records of entire bunch of number of addresses which is occupied by the system and free for accepting any types of results which is requested or any process which is generated by the central processing unit. Now, the third functionality of memory management is very important as far as the CPU is concerned. Memory management not only allocates the storage space to the particular process which has been generated by the central processing unit, but it also look after how much exact storage space is required to complete that particular process. That doesn't mean whenever a single process is generated by the central processing unit, entire block of memory is allocated to that particular process, but some portion of that particular memory is allocated to that particular process to get executed into the system environment. So that storage space is also decided by memory management. So let's conclude the first slide. In this particular slide, which you can see onto the screen, contains three things. One is the definition of memory management, which we can say is that in short, it's a process, it's a one type of system management in which processes are shifted from primary storage to the secondary storage. And next two are the functionalities of memory management, where functionality number one is it look after into the memory block for occupied and unoccupied spaces. Functionality number two, it also checks for the total storage space which requires to get execute a particular process or a bunch of process. According to the weightage of process, it occupies some portion of total memory. That is the another functionality of memory management. Now it's time to go ahead for something advanced. During all these things, memory management assign a particular storage to the process. That storage contains one special type of code that is called as process address code. Again, I am repeating my words. Whenever any process is handled by the central processing unit and it pass one request to allocate a memory from the entire block, memory gives a specific storage space to that particular process. It resides, that means that particular process resides in that block with a specific code which is known to the central processing unit. That code is called as process address space. That process address space, which is followed by the special code, were designed in hexadecimal digit. One example is given over here, where you can see that the address is written. This is one example that address might be changed as the process get changed. It's just an example. The address look like 0, then there is a symbol of cross, we can say the symbol of multiplication 7, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 F. All the process codes, or we can say the memory code for the process which has been generated by the memory management block look like this. This is easily identified by the hardware called central processing unit. Now, during the allocation of this type of address for a specific process or number of processes, the operating system take care of mapping the logical address to the physical address at the time of memory allocation for a specific program. So, one more thing that we need to keep in our mind, the operating system, whenever it maps the memory from the main memory block, it look after two different types of addresses. One is logical address and another is a physical address. No doubt, we have to clear these two words first. What does a logical address means and what does a physical address means? So for that, it is carry forwarded in my next discussion. There are three different types of addresses which is maintained by memory management unit. One is symbolic address, second is relative address, and third one is physical address. Again, I am repeating my words. Memory management unit, memory management process mainly concerns three types of addresses as its internal, that is symbolic address, relative address and physical address. What is the meaning of symbolic address? Symbolic address means the address which is used in source code. Say for example, in our programming in C, in scanf statement, we are writing something like this: scanf percentage d, obviously in double inverted comma, then comma, and person A, which reads and store some content into the address called A. We knows that thing practically and theoretically also. In this function, that particular A is a symbolic address, no doubt, into the system. That symbolic address redirects the compiler into the resource allocation of a variable called A. I will not discuss more in detail, but in short, in in memory management, symbolic address means the address which is used into the source code designing. Just like the variable name, constant, instruction level, etc. etc. Second type of address which is managed by memory allocation is relative address. This relative address were considered at the time of compilation of a particular source code, where the compiler converts symbolic address into the relative address. That means, if you remember that once we write a program in C, any program in C, I am just taking a reference of C because we have discussed in semester number 1, that's why. Otherwise, any programming language. The first thing after writing the code that we are doing is the compilation of the code. Into the compilation of the code, the entire program is converted from source code to the byte code, which is easily recognized by the hardware that we have. So that conversion is done by the component called compiler. So these relative addresses are generated during that particular process. Without wasting more time, let's go for the third one, called physical address. The physical address is generated by the loader of the system. These addresses are considered when programs are loaded into the main memory. That is called as physical address. All these address allocations are the background process which we cannot see over the screen. Automatically it is maintained by the system environment. But yes, we can say that these are the internals of operating system. We will not discuss more in this. Let's go ahead. The next topic of consideration is the virtual and the physical addresses which is maintained by a memory management block. First of all, virtual and physical addresses are same at the compilation time and the loading time into the main memory. But virtual and physical addresses get bifurcated, differentiated, differed at the time of execution of the particular process. Again, I am repeating my word. At the time of allocation, Both looks like a same, but at the time of execution, that means if we remember then about the process state diagram, whenever the process is created and comes into the ready state, at that particular time, virtual and physical addresses are same. Now what happened after the process came into the ready state? Either it may be came into the waiting stage or it may go into the ready state, that is called as running state. Whatever the number of processes are switched from a ready state to the running state, in between that there is a case of generating the interrupt. Keep that thing aside. Consider that all our processes are shifted from ready state to the running state. That means whatever the processes are created are executing. So that execution time, this virtual address and physical address gets differentiated. And then we know that whatever the processes are running get terminated automatically by the CPU as the times complete or as the input output devices sends the response that we have received and given a particular response to the particular system or user, it gets released. This is the entire life cycle of the process which has been generated by the central processing unit. The topic of the discussion is what? Only in between the ready and running. Forget about the others. Whenever the process comes into the ready state, its virtual address and the physical address are same as they are loaded into the primary memory. Remember that thing, number one. Number two, all the processes are shifted from ready state to the running state. Whenever all the processes are shifted from ready to running state, its virtual address and physical addresses becomes different. Why? Because from the ready state, some of the requests might be shifted to the input device and some of the processes are shifted into the output device. Even it might possible that all the processes are for specific input or output device. It's not decided. That will be decided later on. So at the time of execution, virtual and physical address get different. Anyways, let's go ahead. Now during the execution of a process, it will refer to the logical address space. That logical address space is actually the set of all physical addresses which is corresponding to the logical address space which is referred by physical address space. Don't get more confused about this number of lines. It's very simple. Let me clear it. Practically, logical address space and physical address space maintains parallelly, where physical address space is related with the number of hardwares which is attached with the system, and logical address space is related with the software. Here the software means a system software or application software. Now what is system software and application software, which we have already cleared in our chapter number 1. But alternatively or parallelly, for the execution of process, all the hardwares are maintained and the software sequence are also maintained. So software sequence is maintained by the logical address space and hardware space is maintained by the physical address space. A very simple line is written over here for these two components. Now we have to discuss in detail about the physical memory, and then we have to go for virtual memory. I think this is the sufficient dose for the 2 days lecture. We will discuss about the physical memory, virtual memory, and all the carry forwarded topic in our next lecture. Before concluding, before completing my lecture, the conclusion is what? What we have learned in this particular lecture? 4 to 5 things. Number 1, the definition of memory management. Number 2, the functionality of memory management. Number 3, types of addresses which is been maintained by the memory management. I am talking about symbolic, relative and logical that we have recently done. And then we have discussed about logical address space and physical address space. This was the number of topic that we have discussed in this lecture. Thank you very much students for listening me, and have a nice day.